Have you ever stopped to think that everything you call reality might actually be one big illusion? I know, it sounds like an almost absurd idea, doesn't it? After all, we live believing that the world around us is solid, stable, and that our certainties are unchangeable. But what if I told you that what you call self, your deepest beliefs, and even what you consider true, might just be a construction, something much more fluid than it seems? There's a concept in Buddhism that, although it may seem paradoxical, is a key to understanding reality in a completely different way: emptiness. But hold on, don't confuse emptiness with nothingness. Quite the opposite. It is the essence of how everything is interconnected, arising and fading away in a perfect flow of causes and conditions. Imagine a dance. Each movement depends on the other, and nothing exists independently. Grasping this can be liberating and radically transform the way you see life, people, and even your daily challenges. Here's the big secret. This isn't just a distant or poetic idea. Understanding emptiness can help you free yourself from unnecessary suffering, abandon the anxiety of trying to control everything, and live more lightly and compassionately. It may sound contradictory, right? Perhaps, but it is precisely in this paradox that the strength of Buddhism lies. And it is also where you might find your own. Get ready, because what you're about to discover might completely change your worldview and your life. The concept of emptiness, or shunyata, in Mahayana Buddhism. Emptiness is a fascinating concept that directly challenges the way we perceive the world. Imagine looking at a glass. It seems solid, real, there. But what happens if we think of the glass as something that depends on other factors to exist? The material, the artisan's breath, the idea of a glass itself, all of this is interconnected. Emptiness doesn't mean the glass doesn't exist. Rather, it means it doesn't exist alone, independently. This perspective shakes us out of autopilot and invites us to rethink what truly has substance in our lives. This understanding has incredible practical implications. For instance, when dealing with conflicts, we often believe that the other person is permanently mean or always selfish. But what if we understand that these traits arise from conditions, perhaps a bad day, past traumas, or simple misunderstandings? This perspective reduces our reactivity, allowing for empathy. You can try this during your next disagreement. Instead of reacting immediately, take a deep breath and ask yourself what might be conditioning the other person's attitude. Furthermore, understanding emptiness helps us let go of excessive attachment to things and ideas. Think of a project you loved, but that didn't succeed. Frustrating, wasn't it? But if you see that the value of that project lay in the process and the lessons, and not just in the final result, you can transform frustration into growth. It's a challenging but liberating exercise. After all, if even form and emptiness are inseparable, as the Heart Sutra teaches us, perhaps failure is just another form of learning. The Heart Sutra and the phrase form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. This enigmatic phrase from the Heart Sutra might seem complicated at first glance, but it carries a revolutionary meaning. Think of a sheet of paper. It seems simple, but when you look closer, you'll notice it depends on countless things. The tree it came from, the soil that nourished the tree, the sun, the water, the people who processed it. The paper is not just paper. It's a sum of all these elements. Similarly, emptiness is not nothingness, but the absence of separation between things. Form and emptiness are inseparable, just like the ocean and the waves that arise within it. This understanding can transform our relationship with the world around us. Imagine you're stuck in a seemingly unsolvable problem, like a difficulty at work. The concept of emptiness invites us to look beyond the isolated problem and observe how it connects to other situations. your skills, others' expectations, external conditions. Often, this shift in perspective alone can reveal creative solutions. Why not start by listing all the factors contributing to the problem and then identifying which ones can be adjusted? Additionally, this interconnectedness changes how we see ourselves. We are not rigid, fixed entities, but a constant flow of experiences and interactions. For example, a talent you didn't have 5 years ago might now be fully developed. This shows that our form is always in motion, just like the emptiness that permeates it. Embracing this fluidity frees us from the burden of wanting to be something unchangeable and opens us up to continuous transformation. Practical implications of emptiness in Buddhist practice. Understanding emptiness can be the key to undoing many of the mental traps we create for ourselves. Imagine you're holding a bucket full of water. The tighter you grip it, the heavier the bucket feels. Now, what happens if you simply set the bucket on the ground? That's the essence of emptiness, releasing the weight we carry by believing everything is permanent or essential. The bucket is still there, but the suffering of holding it disappears when we learn to let go. In daily practice, this understanding helps us deal with attachment. Think about how often we cling to opinions convinced they are absolutely right. Maybe it's during a political debate or even about which pizza place in town is the best. But when we recognize that our opinions arise from specific experiences and contexts, we can make room to truly listen to others. Try this during your next heated conversation. Listen with curiosity rather than a desire to win the argument. Emptiness also teaches us to cultivate compassion on a profound level. If everything arises interdependently, it means we are connected to everything and everyone. That noisy neighbor, they're part of the flow that influences you, just as you influence them. A practical way to apply this is by thinking of small actions that can create a positive impact, like offering help to someone at the grocery store or donating a bit of your time to a local cause. Every action generates a cycle that eventually comes back to you. The interdependent nature of reality and the middle way. Interdependence invites us to see the world as a vast tapestry where every thread contributes to the whole. Imagine embroidery. If you pull on a single thread, it can unravel the entire design. Reality is just like that. Every event, person, and choice is intertwined so that nothing exists on its own. The middle way teaches us to avoid extremes, neither believing that nothing has value nor thinking that everything is eternal. It's about balance, like walking a tightrope where stability comes from harmony between opposites. This perspective is incredibly practical for navigating life's ups and downs. Suppose you have a big dream, but face obstacles along the way. The extreme of pessimism might lead to giving up, while blind optimism might cause you to overlook important signs. The middle way suggests assess the context, adjust your sails, and keep moving forward. A useful exercise is to write down what's working and what's not, balancing expectations and reality to move forward with clarity. Additionally, interdependence makes us more aware of how our actions affect others. A simple gesture like thanking a friend or conserving water can have ripple effects far greater than we imagine. Keep this in mind the next time you feel like you can't make a difference. The middle way doesn't demand perfection but encourages mindfulness and balance. After all, it's in this point of connection that true transformation happens. Emptiness as the middle way between nihilism and eternalism. Emptiness offers us a surprising perspective. Things are neither as fixed as we think, nor as non-existent as we fear. Imagine a soap bubble. It's there, visible, floating in the air, but we know it's fragile and fleeting. The phenomena around us are similar, real, but transient. The middle way rejects the idea that everything is nothing, nihilism, and the belief that everything is eternal, eternalism. inviting us to live wisely in this delicate balance. In practice, this can change how we deal with loss. Think of a friendship that has ended. Nihilism would say it doesn't matter, while eternalism might trap you in attachment to something that no longer exists. Emptiness suggests remembering that the friendship had its time and context. It brought lessons and contributed to who you are today. A helpful exercise is to write a gratitude letter for what's past, allowing yourself to let go and move forward. This balance can also be applied to our ambitions. We often become consumed by the idea of getting there, as if the destination is all that matters. But if we accept that the journey itself has value, every step gains meaning. Next time you're working on something important, try celebrating small progress. These moments are like petals of a flower, individually fragile, but together they form something beautiful and complete. Have you ever thought about how your perception of the world might be shaping your own experience of life? Understanding emptiness isn't just a philosophical exercise. It's a shift in perspective that can profoundly transform how you relate to others, to your challenges, and even to yourself. Now, take a moment and reflect. What in your life seems fixed, unshakable, but could be seen as part of something greater, more interconnected? Why not take the first step? You can start by observing the connections around you. Your next conversation, or even the coffee you drink in the morning, could be an opportunity to see beyond the surface. How does this change your perspective? What actions can you take today to apply this knowledge in your daily life? Don't leave these questions unanswered. True learning happens in practice. And if you want to keep learning and diving deeper into this fascinating universe of wisdom, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Don't miss the upcoming content that will help you explore the mysteries of Buddhism and much more. After all, the transformation you seek might be just one click away.